Greetings to anyone that's joined the live stream. We will be getting going very soon. We've got 5 minutes on the clock, and we'll be playing in with a video by another YouTuber who sometimes drops in the live chat. That is JT33. So give it a few minutes, see if a bit of an audience picks up, and I'll be with you in a minute. Our theme of this evening's, well, the title of this evening's video is Medical Misinformation. I spotted a cracker of a story on a recent episode of Coronation Street, and yeah, just see what you think of it. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Any feedback on my audio or anything you want us to look at tonight, by all means leave it in the live chat. And first of all, I'll say greetings to Misha from Oz. Glad to have you on. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
You have now entered the New World Order's AI construct, where nothing is as it seems. Your dreams and aspirations have been selected for you. All that makes you who you are was predetermined by the now functioning AI. Free thought is no longer an option. We now have control over all things, including the very thoughts we allow you to have. Do not try to resist. Welcome to the masquerade.
Welcome to the masquerade.
Some sort of illusionary grid that we're living in. Still I'm entrenched in the thought that my thoughts are my own and I'm giving in. Tired of living with hypnotic psychosis of going through all of the social media motions. I don't care what you're posting in. Keep on scrolling through all of the propaganda. Keep on showing support, you're giving them the upper hand. You can find any info to support any truth that you wanna pursue it. Truth is subjective, I'm being selective and choosing the path, and I knew it. Welcome to the masquerade. We're playing charades where the world has been staged like a play. The play is on the people, either you wake up or succumb to the evil. When you succumb to the evil.
Welcome to the masquerade.
Okay, hope you enjoyed the tunes. If not, well, it's not my video. I won't be offended. It is JT33. We sometimes see him in the live chat, and it's always good to hear from him. At the moment, we've got Michelle from Oz telling us about the 6th week of lockdown and how it messes up your routine, having dessert for breakfast. Why not? Yeah, I recall not that long ago in this country, it started around just before Christmas or just after Christmas and went right on through until May or some ridiculous time like that, may even beyond it. And it's very surreal. I mean, there are some advantages to having empty streets, nobody on any public transport. It's not the worst situation in the world always, but it's not worth the hassle if you're not going to visit family. I say take the good stuff from lockdown, enjoy the empty streets, the no one getting in your way, and keep all the previous stuff that you want to keep about. Still visit family, absolutely do not wear masks, and do not social distance, because that's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Ayers Junge says, alright mate, greetings, welcome to the live chat, glad you could join in this evening. Yeah, tonight's main topic is a episode of Coronation Street I saw a couple of weeks ago, and no, not a couple of weeks ago, it was actually Friday evening, and hardly surprising, they spread a bit of medical misinformation in this episode. It's nothing to do with BS19. It is actually to do with insulin, diabetes. I'm not sure if any of you watch it. I'm not sure if any of you are like me, sad enough to follow these things. They are light entertainment. They always used to be a bit of an escape, but of course they cram medical propaganda in left, right, and centre. Okay, we are gonna look at a couple of other subjects. Actually, in fact, I think we will get started with something which I can say is literally a load of crud, a load of shit, literally a load of it. Check this story out. In the Sky News, what was the other thing I read about Sky News? Before we read that, apparently it isn't just small YouTube channels that get hit with strikes. Supposedly YouTube have banned Sky News Australia over videos that question lockdown. And bear in mind, if you've ever come across any of the posts that Sky News make on YouTube, you'll see they're completely 100% official narrative. But just to make it appear that no one's immune from getting struck, Sky News cannot even broadcast a debate, supposedly, in which people share opinions. I mean, debates around whether masks were effective and whether lockdowns were justified considering their adverse health outcomes. And it cites its commentators who argue that masks are not effective. Apparently, this view is fine to put in the press, but not to put on YouTube. So anyway, yeah, a complete load of crud. They can now. I promise you, I'm not going to be talking constantly all night about BS19. Just a couple of things. It's unavoidable at the minute. Right. Let's see. Michelle asks, how long has that show been going? Ayers Junge. Right, am I right in thinking you said you gave me your name a couple of weeks ago, Ayers Junge? Is it something like Kev, or a lot simpler than pronouncing whatever that is you are known by in the live stream? Actually, Corey's been going more like 60 years. And yeah, set in Manchester. Right, anyway, apparently this picture, I was thinking, a few people have asked if I'll be doing any more quizzes. I haven't done one of them for a while. I was thinking of putting this picture up and seeing if anyone could figure out what it meant. See if anyone could tell me what this picture's about. What it is, supposedly, is the concentration of BS19 found in the sewage dumps of Britain. supposedly people are going through your sewage and monitoring it, and guess what they're finding? Lots of traces of BS19. Quite how they come across that, I have no idea. Sounds absolutely ridiculous. They give us a picture of a spotty England, of course. It's meaningless, so how about showing us some actual pictures of people inspecting our sewage? That would be a better picture than a dotty picture of England. So much so, it's barely worth reading. It's the usual nonsense. Generally, the more people with BS19 in the community, the more viral RNA, ribonucleic acid, will be shed into wastewater. So I thought I'd start the live stream with a look at that story. Greetings to Sapphire Star DF, who says, of course, this is Random Games. Yep, thank you. Always good to have you on the stream, like Random Games. Michelle says they do that here too and report on it. If you're, I'm guessing you're referring to the sewage surveillance. I can't believe they really genuinely do that, unless they're literally just taking a teaspoon of it and then putting it through a some sort of test. Sound absolutely what a waste of time that is. I mean, what does that achieve? Yeah. So, right, we're gonna go back to what our original, well, the headline of this evening's live stream, of course, is about medical misinformation in an episode of Coronation Street that ran on the 30th of August. No, sorry, 30th of July, a couple of days ago. And yeah, I'm going to bring it up. I'm certainly not going to play it because it would strike me with copyrights, but I think I can take you through a few screenshots and see if this video ever loads, that is. Actually, I might have a better way of doing it. Bear with me, I think I have a better way of sharing this video. Oh. Okay, we can do it from here. Yeah, now, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the condition known as diabetes. It is a situation where the human body, supposedly, according to the mainstream media, the pancreas will no longer produce insulin, which is what the human body uses to break down sugar into energy. So, due to, I think they say that if you overwork your pancreas, you use up all your insulin and then the body no longer produces it. It doesn't sound right to me, but who knows, I guess. So anyway, they've got a solution. Could you live a healthy lifestyle, do lots of exercise, eat healthily, not have too much sugar, have moderate amounts of food, or should you just continue leading a very unhealthy lifestyle, just jack yourself up with pig's insulin every 4 times a day? But anyway, that's the story Coronation Street has covered. But they've done it back to front. Now, 2 symptoms of this is the people that got struck down. 2 concerns if you get if you have diabetes. I'll just have a quick look at the live chat. Hi Bobby, did you hear the HCC is being sued by the frontline doctors who want it to be stopped? Well, if you have a link for us, Random Games, that would be great. I'll put you as a mod, meaning you can share links if anyone else has a link to share. Ayers Jones says they're taking the P. Well, they are taking a lot more than that. They're taking everything you flush down the toilet. Every time you've been sick into it. But bear in mind, the way they test for BS19 in humans, I'm just going to jump back to this subject for a second. The way they test for that in humans is by using lateral flow tests. they chuck it through a laboratory and then see how many, whatever it is they're looking at, protein spikes, how many comes up. But of course these tests can be messed up by putting fruit juice in it, putting all sorts of other things. I think apple juice or maybe even Ribena will give a positive reading, so they're not in any way accurate, but apparently it is. Right, going back to Coronation Street. Yeah, right, two conditions you get with being a diabetic. Hyperglycemia, and we could look at that definition. Yeah, this is the person that suffers with, just recently been diagnosed with diabetes, and she's obviously not getting on too well, putting a form of, well, basically pig's juice into them. Bear in mind, instructions from the Word of God tell us not to eat pig flesh, and it says the pig is an unclean animal. Doesn't mean it's a horrible animal, just not something suitable for humans to eat. So don't eat them. Now, how about extracting the insulin from a pig and then storing it and then injecting it into humans? That's something else, which, and like I say, the way Coronation Street in this episode presents this story, it's that without insulin, a diabetic's life would be a mess. You know, they could very potentially die. They keep going into comas if they don't have their insulin. That is wrong. As we see tonight, this person, can't think of her name now. Where are we? They end up in the park. They've got a park, and believe it or not, this park has a tribute to Martin Hett, the superfan of Coronation Street superfan, who died in. Here we are. Here she is. She ends up in the park. I wonder if I could play it without getting struck with copyright. Maybe if I put the volume down. Sapphire says, make your own juice from vegetable and fruit juice. Nice. I will say, yeah, fair enough. I drink a lot of fruit juice myself, but I do find generally orange juice and pineapple juice are really, I'm guessing if you can make your own, it'd be even better. So, sounds nice, Sapphire. And also, you don't eat pig and you avoid meat as much as you can. I've been pretty much, 100% vegetarian for about at least 2 years. It was a very gradual process and didn't happen all at once. Chicken was the first thing I cut out. I just didn't enjoy, I don't enjoy the thought that you would treat a creature, an entire species of creature almost, as if it's not a living creature. It's a product that for as cheap as you can, you produce as much of it as you can. That's no way to treat animals. Another biblical passage, the righteous man will consider the life of the beast or something. Can't quote it, but I believe that comes from there. That's no way to treat creatures, so fair enough. Anyway, here we are in the park with these two characters. Right, what happens if I play this? Will I get taken down? I'm just going to monitor it. Anyway, here they are. This guy gets out a can of beer. Now, generally a can of beer wouldn't be too bad for a diabetic to drink. I mean, you do get sugar in there, but it's a lot worse for a diabetic to be low on sugars than it is for them to be too high. Neither are great by any stretch of the imagination. Well, I'm sure most of us have experienced hypoglycemia, where you get all shaky, you haven't eaten for a while, and you just feel a bit weak and rubbish, and that's where your blood glucose levels drops through the floor because you haven't had enough sugar. Now, this happens to a diabetes because they're putting basically a really concentrated form of pig insulin into them. So it eats up very aggressively, eats up all the sugar in your system, so they're very prone to going hypoglycemic. Not what happens in this story, though, although they treat the outcome of hypo is going into a coma. The symptoms of hyperglycemia, which happens to this girl, is sweating profuse going to the toilet, seriously dry mouth, having to completely keep drinking, and that is the effects of where your body's trying to get as much water in to wash all the sugar out of your system, because your body's no longer able to produce the insulin itself. So you need a shot of, they say, pig's insulin. I say do plenty of exercise, don't eat too much sugar. If you well, in moderation, basically, depending on how much sugar you burn off a day, is probably anyway. So what plays out with this girl then when she has a can of beer or a bottle of whatever this is and forgets to take her insulin? Do they show her going profusely sweating, being really dehydrated and literally constantly on the toilet? Or do they just show her go the other way, and the more dangerous side effects, only produced by the pharmaceutical, from the insulin produced by the pharmaceutical manufacturers? And actually, yeah, so it's a lot more dangerous to have too much insulin than it is to not have enough. But this story will tell you like it's the other way around. Coronation Street, medical misinfo. And then it all goes to heck. And this guy, he's fallen out with everyone because he turned out he was a scumbag. He stole something and blamed it on another person. Half the characters are, of course, homosexual, as is the case with this guy. He likes the vicar, which, of course, anyone who genuinely tried to follow the word of God would not. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a touchy subject, but generally the Bible teaches against men laying with men. So take that to mean what you will. And if you read the Old Testament, the thought that someone such as a person that commits these acts, yeah, it wouldn't be seen as the right thing. Sticking with the temple prostitutes, basically, it's virgin on that. Linda Mack, greetings. Yeah, this story is not believable. No, absolutely it isn't. It is a joke, basically. Is this where this is where the guy who so far peed everyone off by basically being a scumbag, he's going to redeem himself now to the vicar. It'd be better with sound effects, but I think that's risking it too much. I think we would get shut down. Sapphire Star, thank you for sharing the link. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Frontline doctors are suing the HHC to stop. Fair enough. I'm aware of other lawsuits. I'm not sure what part of the world that is. We'll have a look. Phil Wright, greetings and welcome to the live chat. Glad you could join the stream. Here we are. Look, she's gone down. In fact, you can even see. Again, they don't stop with the misinfo. I'm sure there's an easy way of going back on this. Oh yeah, there is. Here we go. Look, you can see up in this top right corner, she was desperately trying to make herself some food because obviously her blood glucose have gone through the roof. Last thing she'd be thinking about is eating. In fact, she'd be desperately trying to drink as much as she could. Probably that's for as long as she can stay off the toilet. And long-term, high blood glucose levels will, they say is effective. Will affect the body. Apparently the body starts to produce keto acids or something? It's a particular type of protein that spikes in the blood, and that is the result of going hyper for a long period of time, basically not taking your insulin. Yeah, that is the typical sort of. Anyway, he saves the day, and she ends up in hospital. Fortunately, they don't show them taking her to the hospital and jabbing her with a load of insulin. Of course, that is what they say is the solution now. She wouldn't. Well, I don't know. Maybe she would need it, but yeah, a bit of a falsity that. How they're portraying the outcome of going hyper and hypoglycemic, it's far from truth. And there's another story going on with a footballer who's broke his leg. Of course, the hospital are going to save him. They're going to patch him up. Have we seen Summer in hospital yet? No. Oh, this lady here. I say lady. Got a heck of, anyway, yes, she apparently plays the role of a nurse, and during the lockdown, when people were putting videos online of hospitals absolutely empty, not an ambulance in sight, this character had to say the line, because she's a nurse, "I've had to come from the hospital where I've seen 7 or 8 ambulances queuing up out the back waiting to get in," basically trying to push the complete lie that hospitals were overrun by patients. But of course, there's so much footage to the contrary. That's not to say particular wards where they've set up all the ventilators probably weren't very well packed out with people. I'm sure everyone they convinced would come in. With all that rubbish going on in the news, it's a lot of convincing. Right, Linda Max says, what's this about pig insulin? It's all from recombinant DNA, identical to human insulin. I must have missed something. You're saying insulin comes from... No, we'll see. Let's do an old one-stop Google search. I don't actually use Google, but where does insulin come from? Insulin come from... I mean, the thing is, you would have to call it pig. All right, if I just say insulin, yeah, here it goes. Insulin's produced in the Langerhans in the pancreas. The name insulin comes from Latin, ins, blah, blah, blah. Right, where does pig insulin, or what, how to do this search, right? Pig insulin in humans. Pig insulin is a good candidate for then transplantation to humans because it differs from human insulin by only a single amino acid. Although the FDA has approved porcine organ so-and-so, it's still unclear how long these new islets can remain functional in the human body. Right, okay, they're talking about putting an entire new pancreas in the human body, or more or less. Production of genetically modified pigs expressing human insulin rather than the porcine or porcine insulin by changing... Yeah, I'm pretty confident that... Well, I don't know. The way I understood it, what they put in those insulin pens is... Novo Rapid, right. What's in a Novo Rapid pen? Linda Mack, if you've got a link to anything, then... Yeah, I don't know whether they will explicitly say they're using pig insulin, but I'm pretty sure they do. They always talk about synthetic stuff, but the general use is... I'm not sure. Anyway, you may be right. Right, Michelle has shared a link. We'll have a look at that. We will also have a look at the link shared by Sapphire Star once we've finished on this particular subject. We will see. Right. How is synthetic insulin made? They claim they do it synthetically now, do they? Not so sure about that. I bet the farmers wouldn't be too impressed with... okay. It's big business, basically. Farmers selling insulin to... But maybe they have now got a way of doing it synthetically. I think this could be BS, but who knows. Right, synthetic insulin was first made in 1978 by blah blah, City of Hope. This achievement was a giant step forward. They may have done it. Doesn't say they particularly use it, though. Previously, pig and cattle pancreas glands were the only viable method of production. While sufficient for most diabetics, the use of animal to produce insulin did cause some allergic reactions. It was not a true human match. Okay, perhaps they no longer use it, but yeah, still synthetic pig DNA, synthetic pig insulin, or wow, how are they synthesizing the insulin, and where are they getting the actual ingredient from? It's not like, I'm guessing they would probably still have to use, I mean, we read that story where someone was suggesting they could change pig insulin into humans, genetically yeah, okay. It's one for debate, okay? But thank you for sharing the link, Michelle. I am aware that they claim to have a synthetic, well, yeah. By the way, I'm absolutely 100% not diabetic. I do not use this product. I sympathise greatly for those who have. I mean, maybe you'd have it if anyone is diabetic and believes they have a better understanding of it than me. I'm always happy to take your view on it. I would say I'm accurate when I say it is more dangerous to take too much insulin than not enough. That is, in the short term, most likely to die from too much insulin, not from not taking insulin. Okay. Misha from Oz says you can smell keto on the breath. Yeah, apparently metallic, is it? I've worked for a weight loss company and we had a little sniff to see if clients were skipping meals. Nice. Fair enough. So yeah, what would skipping meals achieve? Would that make them hyper or hypo? That would make you low, wouldn't it? I guess. Of course, a very good way of bringing down blood glucose levels is the use of marijuana, I guess you would say. It is when I believe it's, probably better than injecting insulin into yourself 4 times a day, is to have if you can, because apparently getting the munchies is a term linked to people smoking cannabis, as it were, and yeah, apparently getting the munchies is because it literally takes your blood glucose levels down. Of course. Okay, that is one subject. I think I've covered it. If anyone's got anything else to add or whatnot, you are welcome to. We will have a look at the link shared by Sapphire Games. I like the name, by the way, of your channel. I hope that doesn't mean they've taken your other one down. Right. Oh. Where were we? Joanne Moore. Greetings and welcome to the chat. Good to have you over. Right. Yeah, as I say, Michelle from Oz, I appreciate you sharing that article. Thank you very much. I'm not going to dismiss it, but yeah, they may, obviously, okay, we'll see. I'm sure it gives us lots of info. The link is in the live chat shared by Michelle from Oz, if anyone wants to read that for themselves. Meanwhile, we will look at the video by Random Games. Actually, if this is a particularly long video, what we might do is save it either for an interval at about 10:30, depending on, I'll probably go on for about 60 to 90 minutes this evening. Yeah, if it's a longer video, we might wait. Yeah, it's a couple of hours. I'm certainly not going to play all this out, but frontline doctors file lawsuit against HHS. Believe the experts, they said. Okay, Citizen Man TV. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, again, the link to this video is in the live chat. I'm a little wary of watching other people's stuff. When is it on there? Oh no. Yeah, playing other people's videos but certainly one I'll give a watch at some point. First, I'm curious what. First mass discrimination case settled for £7,000. A disabled woman assisted by Keister Disability Rights has been paid £7,000 in compensation by a service provider who refused her access to a service because she was unable to wear a face mask. Interesting. Not had that happen to me so far. What's HHS, by the way? You might have already explained that, but I'm sure watching the video would explain. Health something. Yeah, I'm sure it's some health service, yeah? David, greetings, welcome to the chat. Put money in the jukebox yesterday at my local pub. Played AC/DC, the landlady turned it off. That's a bit harsh, David. Did you get your money back? I'm not the biggest AC/DC fan in the world, but still, if they're going to switch it on in the morning, then did they apologise, Dave? That's pretty out of order. Yeah. So, thanks for sharing the link, certainly. Random games. Right, what else were we going to check out? Yeah, so if anyone's got any comments on the insulin storyline, do they agree, do they disagree that putting too much insulin is more dangerous than not enough? Although Coronation Street tried to twist it and give it the alternative message that going hyper will put you into a coma. Not until you've had high glucose for a good week or so, and that's when apparently it starts affecting the feet, and you see people with feet cut off. Yeah, apparently I'm sure Michel is very familiar with this by the sounds of it. The onset of severe diabetes that isn't properly managed will have them hacking your feet off. See, this is why I don't give who knows what I would do in certain circumstances, but generally I do not give doctors the opportunity to, strike me with their, let's say on that one particular day you go in and in the hospital, and the doctor you see has what they call a God complex. Let's see. Now, here we've got a story about frontline doctors doing something good, obviously. Obviously there's good people working in hospitals, hard-working people. Most of them are there with the best of intentions, but many would say they've been complicit in pulling a scam, but then most of the people working in hospitals are just following orders, the same as the people out on the streets. How many of them are in a situation where they can rock the boat? But then we're not even going in hospitals. We have no idea. We only see what... when they're locking everyone out, then no one knows what's really going on in hospitals, but not a place I would want to be, I can tell you that. Okay. Right, Dave says, no, she didn't apologise and didn't get the money back. She said today, do you want the number for the brewery to complain? My goodness, what a miserable pub that sounds like, Dave. Why are you even wasting your time entering that establishment? If that's the best the person that runs it can do. There was a video I came across on YouTube. Let's go to my history. It was, again, it's one of these videos I'm never 100% sure how legitimate they are. It's, the person I subscribe to called, what's the gentleman's name? By the way, Random Games, we may go back and watch a little bit of that, a clip of that, either at 10:30 if I have an interval, or at the end we might play out with 5 minutes. I'm sure the channel producer won't mind. Right, what was the name of the person? James L.E. I've shared a few of his videos before. There's one of them. It's not the actual one I'm on about. But it is... Now, what this reminds me of is a place very local to me, Bath. If I put a search for Bath pub yells at MP, I'm not sure whether that's Riverside Garden pub, no. Yeah, there was a big story where it looks very similar to what we're seeing in this video. Where someone is... In fact, they may well have covered it themselves. It was a good few months back. And again, it looked a little bit staged, but most things are not. You are, of course, good to make up your own mind. Sapphire says, watch the end. That is where the lawsuit is talked about. Okay, perhaps we'll put on the last maybe 10 minutes. I'll play at... Yeah, maybe we'll either watch 5-10 minutes at 10:30 and then another 5 minutes at the end. We'll see how it pans out. But thank you for sharing, Misha. Random Games, I appreciate that. Yeah, this is a vid where someone confronts, and it very much seems... The thing is, I do believe it will come a time, well, I don't know. Yeah, someone made a very good point about all this. It is some... I found a... Some of you guys may be familiar with the person. They go by the name of Pure Truth. Now, they share some very interesting stuff. They are not a particularly big fan of people like David Icke and certain other people. And yeah, he's worth having a look at. Now, he says, obviously, it's all controlled. There's an alternative agenda. We will have a look at that in a minute. But we'll go back to this one. How many pubs are genuinely in a situation where they can... I'll tell you what we'll do. Where they can turn people away. Perhaps there's loads of them. Perhaps some of them... I don't know. This is... Yeah, apparently he's complaining that he's not allowed to go into a pub because he hasn't had his crud. Apparently the person... Yeah, oh, hang on.
Discriminate or not having had a vaccine. So here we go.
And now, of course, someone... Yeah, this seems very staged to me, but who knows? I'm not sure. I do wonder if there will come a time, though, if... Yeah, well, this will probably all just be forgotten about. At the moment, for me, it's like a product that many... Yeah, it's a product, and they've got the government behind them pushing it as a... They must have a vested interest. I do not know. I'm just shutting that down. Perhaps... And it seems that this discussion is very much in their favour. So long as people are talking about this, then their product is getting a lot of exposure, and lots of people will be... Because they still depend on people booking appointments for this thing. If that's not happening, then they're not getting their money from the NHS. So, hey ho. Right. Yeah, I wanted to look at this guy then. He is called Pure Truth. Some of you may have noticed I made last week, actually, we watched a video from a YouTuber called Dissent Media. I've been very supportive of the guy. I'm subscribed to him on YouTube, although I don't think he's subscribed to me, and on Twitter and on Twitch. I watch a fair bit of his stuff. This person suggests he's not all it seems. I can't say I 100% agree with him. Some of how he comes across is very aggressive, actually. But then this situation will get you mad. He talks about the protests. Now, I'm wondering if he's talking about a walk that took place in 2020. Either that or he's wrote the wrong date. He says, this blog is about the August 29th demo. I'm not sure if any of you remember that. David Icke, back in August last year, he held a speech very much like we saw a couple of weeks ago. And apparently there was another one today. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Is that it? Anti-vaxxers. Yeah, anti-vaxxers march through London to protest children's jabs. Again, so long as they've got people talking about it, that's great for them. They want that exposure. They do not want you to shut up about this thing. That is why I'm doing my best to. I've come to a decision on this product. Not for me. Thanks very much. Just I'm not going to have it. I'm not scared and I'm not convinced when they tell me you're not going to be able to go on holiday if you haven't had one. You're not going to be able to go and do this. You're not going to be able to get a job. You're not going to be able to live your life to the full unless you've had our product. That is the same tagline every other advertiser will give you. If you haven't got our product, you're not living life to the full. Check out who is it? One brand which is version on a medical brand, it isn't quite though, would be sanitary towels. They always portray women to be, if I just say always ad, I bet it'll show someone, I mean this could be a different, but yeah, it'll show someone jumping out of an aeroplane or basically living a great life, having a much better life. And if you haven't got this product, maybe I'm thinking of something else. I don't follow these people that closely. For real, isn't it interesting though? They're always trannies, every time, guaranteed. The only people that advertise these products don't use them. Well, only to catch the possibly any wounds that they've still got healing, surgical scars. Then maybe they'll use them. But anyway, how do we get onto that? We are being convinced that we need it. I'm saying I don't need it. I've made peace with that now. If anyone doesn't want to know me, doesn't want to employ me, doesn't want to talk to me or serve me because I'm not using their product, fair enough, that's up to them. But there's got to be enough people that share this point of view. I mean, look how many people are marching. Who knows? Some of these people might just like a get-together. But one thing these numbers do show us, whether they are organised by... Actually, it doesn't look that many people, does it? See, will they ever shut up about this? Not when people are going to London and standing around talking about their rubbish product. Always under Nelson's column, of course, an obelisk. That is a reference to a sun god and a false god, another thing they want people dancing under, and that is where this story was interesting. Where are we? Oops, don't mean to cut that. That's where this guy's blog from Pure Truth, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, gives a interesting look. Apparently, David Icke led people through... Well, let's read it. Right. Right, they say David Icke. This blog's about people that were taken in by David Icke as he led them through a Luciferian ritual in a Freemasonic ritual site. He did this by referencing lines waking up, which is straight out of Freemasonry. He was... Sorry, losing my spot. Yeah, he was a reference in the line of Judah, King Solomon, and the building of the third temple in Jerusalem. King Solomon is a very important name in Freemasonry, as it is said that the origins of Freemasonry go back to King Solomon's involvement in the occult practices. That would be the hiring of... Yeah, is it Hiram Abiff or something? I don't know. Well, I do know. I have read the account in Second Kings, and yeah, and they also in Samuel, is it? Yeah, I'll get. Yeah, it is mentioned. I am familiar with it, but recounting it accurately can sometimes be a bit confusing. Anyway, this guy is saying a third temple. Of course, Solomon built Solomon's temple, and then it was supposedly, well, it was then destroyed and then rebuilt by, I want to say Nebuchadnezzar, but I'm not sure how true that is. Right, they say, this is something we did point out last week as well. Freemasonic symbolism is all over Trafalgar Square. Nelson, a Freemason, has his hand hidden, and the one-eye symbolism, black and white chessboard, floor, and the National Portrait Gallery. So yeah, right. And they also talk about the significance of the date. 19th of April. Yeah, Trafalgar Square is also 66 in gematria and is your double 33 for Freemasonry. And it was also the site where they chose to display a replica of the Baal Arch in Palmyra. We do have a little image of that just here. I'm guessing that is the replica. Supposedly, David Icke led the people through this arch. Like I said, I'm curious. They're now saying maybe it was 29th of April, August last year, I'm guessing. Was there a protest? Is anyone familiar with it? Cannot say I am. Right, let's have a look at the live chat. Michelle, it's like a fever dream for the whole world. Absolutely it is. And we do forget, though, there was a huge medical scandal in the 90s. False memories ruined people's lives. Yeah, out of interest, Michelle, which scandal are you referring to? I was in my early teens back in the 90s. Wow. Yeah, my age run of the year. The big thing from the 90s that I remember is where am I going? Foot and mouth, BSC, and mad cow disease, stuff like that. Although, of course, that was more farmland, but that was the big outbreak back then. It was more affecting animals that I can remember, and now they're trying to say it is affecting humans. KG, sorry you're late. You have absolutely no need to apologise. I appreciate you just tuning in. So thanks for turning up at all. John Moore, oh dear, my hometown, shan't be drinking there when I'm old enough. Huh. Fair enough. David says, Hugo Talks. What is your reference to Hugo Talks? Out of interest, David? Am I maybe missing an earlier point of that? Right. Michelle said, I couldn't ski till I switched to tampons. Exactly. You've got it. False memories recovered under hypnosis. Michelle, again, if you have a link you wish to share, I'd always be interested. Right. I am generally considering doing a 5-minute interval, just because my mouth is getting dry and I need to refill my orange juice. Perhaps this would be a good time to watch a couple of minutes from the... Oh, actually, I think I took it down. A couple of minutes from the video that was shared with us. Hopefully not something that will get me... Where is it? Okay, I'll have to go back through the live chat. Okay. Yeah, I will also put a link in the live chat to that post. It is someone called Pure Truth. They are on Twitter as well. They share some pretty interesting stuff. I would basically, it's a fairly long post and I was pretty captivated. Read it all the way through. I appreciate it's not the time to be doing that now. This live stream goes on for 2 hours. It made for interesting reading though, talking about, and that's why I am curious if anyone knows of anyone that attended a protest last year. Do they remember anything about David Icke leading people through a kind of ritual where they had to go for an archway? I looked for it online and there is footage of him doing a speech, but I don't see this thing that they're talking about. So yeah, I'm after some info on that. But yeah, if you want to read it, it is... Yeah, don't be surprised though to see that he is very much not a fan of another YouTuber that I have actually said in the past that, that he does good work, and I can't argue he does. And that is Dissent Media. I think some of the videos he puts out are very interesting. But this guy says he's not to be trusted. Well, we can make our own opinions up on that. I'm sure someone could tell you I'm not to be trusted. Perhaps you think I talk absolute rubbish. People are entitled to such opinions, so yeah, everyone's a critic, you could say. Right, link to Pure Truth. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at this live chat before we just take maybe 5 minutes to, not even that probably, just to fill our drinks up and whatnot. Use the facilities, as it were. Pop out and have a cigarette, although of course you guys can take your listening device with you and have a cigarette. I'll be back in a minute to follow in. Where are we? Right, here we go. Right, Random Games suggests we watch from the end. I do hope the person, Citizen Man TV, doesn't object to us watching some of his information. Obviously this goes on for a good couple of hours, this video. So, without further ado, I'm going to do a little bit of plagiarising. I do hope that the person doesn't mind. But of course we'll give a link to his... Well, the video's already been linked to. I'm going to link to his channel. What's going on there? I may give him a subscribe at some point. I'm not sure. I will of course have to watch a bit of his video. Yeah, I'm just going to pop this on then for 2 minutes, alright? Let us know what you think on when I come back.
Okay, I'm unfrozen on StreamYard, so why am I frozen on YouTube?
Yeah, he gets exactly the same problems I get on StreamYard. Absolute trash. That's why I stopped using that, and that is why I enjoy inviting people on for guests, but you have to use StreamYard, which is absolute dog's crud. So unless someone particularly wants to come on and share information with me, I'm not going to use StreamYard anytime soon. I would like to invite people to call me anytime on Skype if you desperately want to. Basically, search Skype for my channel name and you'll find me. I believe I'm the only Bobby Zones on Skype. Send a message if you have to, and you're welcome to share any stories or thoughts you've got on that. Also, I do have plans. A couple of people have asked about a quiz, and I will have another quiz at some point, but it will not be a sort of like a 2-hour live stream. What I'm thinking of doing is having a particular day or maybe 2 days where throughout the day I'll present a question, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. It will not be a question that you can easily just search for on Google. Like I said, one of the questions I was going to show was of that dotty picture of England where, bear with me, I'll see if I can find it. We'll do that. Anyway, a quiz will be coming. Right, 2 minutes of this guy struggling with StreamYard, which I can totally sympathise with, and I'll be back. I might skip past this bit.
StreamYard stream.
First, I'd like to say thank you to Random Games, aka Sapphire Star, who's in the live chat and shared this, so thank you.
Hey, I'm unfrozen. Hey, how about it? I did it. I fixed it, y'all. All right. All right, let's get back to the screen share. So, if you're wondering why Trump got out in front of the vaccine was already going to be put out, but it was going to be put out in such a way that there will be much more casualties than what we're seeing. And now the casualties we're seeing are the very same sheep. Because remember, America is supposed to be a free society. But we've seen a lot of tyrants arise out of this free society in the last year. Not only tyrants in government, but tyrants among the useful idiots within the population. In a free society, there is no room for sheep, nor is there room for tyrants. There is no room for people who want to be controlled, nor people who want to control others. Because a free society is composed of free people. And free people have no interest in being controlled or controlling others. So, the people who want to be controlled, well, the controllers are leading them to certain death. Why save them? There's no use. You can't save them. Make plans and let them go. Because remember, this is war. And this is the part of war that everybody hates. Burying people that you know, people that you love, people that are close to you. That's the part of war everybody hates. Seeing the death. But it's necessary, because without it, that war would never end. And this is a war that we need to end very quickly. And we could have ended it before it even began, if enough of us stood up and weren't sheep. But too many of us bow down and were sheep. And that obedience is leading those sheep straight to the slaughterhouse. And once they start stampeding towards the slaughterhouse, there's nothing the farmer can do. There's nothing the sheepdog can do. There's nothing anyone can do. And this is why we call them sheep, because they're only good for one of two things: wool and mutton. So this winter, do not fear hunger and do not fear being cold, because wool and mutton will abound. And I hate to say it this way, but somebody's got to say it, goddammit. Somebody's got to say it. I'm done being soft. And guess what? My mother's in that useful idiot group. So I'm not just saying this to you when I'm completely detached from it. No, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. We're all going to lose people. Pamela says, the saddest part about this Koof religion, this is a moneymaker. People are getting rich.
Okay, thanks to Citizen Man TV for filling in for me while I went and got a drink and whatnot. I'm not going to let him run out the rest of the show. I'll tell you what, we will go back and watch a few more minutes at the end, unless anyone else has got another video they particularly want to share. But yeah, really interesting stuff. I like what I hear, actually. Thank you for sharing that. Random Games, aka Sapphire. I've given him a subscribe, and I'll see. Yeah, I'm interested to see what else he does. Someone else in the live chat mentioned beat worship. That's I know their pictures of a baby with spiky hair. This one, yeah, definitely another good channel. What was there about? I don't profess to know the truth. The truth can be hard to uncover. What I can find is a lie that I can prove. Fair enough. Yeah, I certainly recommend this guy. Red Shoe and the Westminster. Yeah, some really interesting stuff there. Piki Saku, I remember that guy. He gave an interview when the Grenfell Tower fire happened. You know, it's interesting. I remember when the Grenfell Tower happened, it was spread everywhere, wall to wall news. Everyone was talking about it, literally everyone. I asked someone, and I remember saying to someone, it'll soon be forgotten and no one will ever say another word about it, or it just won't be in everyone's consciousness. And this person said, no, we'll never forget this, the Great Fire of Grenfell. I asked someone the other day if they remembered it. They didn't have a clue. They could not remember the Grenfell Tower. Maybe if I'd shown them images of it. Anyway, this guy, PK, he complains about how flammable the flats were, how dangerous. He says about 100 times, I'm not going to lie. Of course, he's just reading a script all the way through. He wants to act like he is from this area of London, like the big tower blocks, but it turns out he's this public school kid. He's loaded. He's not to be trusted, as I'm sure Beat Worship would cover. Definitely worth checking out. I'll give a link to his channel and put it in the live chat. Thank you to, who was it suggested that? That was David. Link to Beat Worship. Right, I am pretty... was there any links I haven't looked at? Apologies if so. Just trying to think. I'd be... Michelle from Oz, you say... you mentioned a scandal with false memories. If you have any links to anything like that you wish to share, that would be good to see. What else were we going to look at? Have we covered everything? I'm not sure, actually. Maybe we have. Perhaps perhaps the hour was all we needed for tonight's live stream. I am curious. I don't know if anyone's been following the Olympics. It doesn't seem to be particularly big news this year. It's, of course, as we looked at last year. Let's try it again. We'll give this one another go. Tranny spotting at the Olympics. Let's see. Now, of course, they claim that this year's Olympics is the most open for trans athletes. They do not tell you the half of it, of course. There we go. Already, straight the very first picture we see. Look at the Adonis belt. straight up and down, straight back, no doubt wide shoulders. I don't know if all volleyball players happen to be like that, but if they're at the Olympics, then yes, they are. I mean, if you think about it, the top female athletes, for example, let's say men can outperform women in most sports, then if there is a loophole where males are allowed to perform as a female or in female sports, which there has been from, well, certainly nothing new at these Olympics, then of course they're going to be the top performing athletes. You can, I mean, it's nothing new, transgenders performing in sport. If you know of any crackers, there's one I remember. Oh, not Martina. Who was the javeler, the British javeler woman? She had a really strange name. British javelin thrower. Where are we? There she is. There she is. I say she. What was her name? Fatima Whitbread, that was it. Wow. But unless the mainstream media are questioning it, we're certainly not questioning it, I can tell you that. If Piers Morgan isn't going out saying what an outrage that Fatima Whitbread won all these medals as a female athlete, when really you can clearly see it's a male athlete. Then, right, let's see, any more. Obviously, the Venus, of course, another sun god, is it not, or false god named Venus. Here we go, and the sister, Venus and Serena. I'm not sure if I spelled that right, but yeah, I mean, this isn't anything new. There was another one, Semenya. I don't know if you remember that person. I can't remember their first name. If I put athlete, Seaman, yeah, it was, more or less. Misha from Oz says, Hubbard is lifting today. Is that someone in the Olympics? To be honest, I've not followed it, Misha. Is that an Australian athlete by any chance? Here we go, yeah, here's another one. And this person, it did come out, there was a big story about how offensive is it that you're asking this poor woman to prove that she's really a woman. They never went as far as saying if she identifies as one, then that's what she is. There is, of course, the possibility that these athletes, some female athletes, have taken so many steroids that they start looking masculine. As likely as that is that it's originally a gentleman. Lauren Hubbard. I'll have a look for that Misha in a minute. We'll check out Lauren. But how about the other way? Is this one you showed us the other week, Misha? Possibly. Or I know someone was... Wow. That's another perfect... Oh, that's not the same person. Oh, Laurel, gotcha. What? Yeah. That is a perfect example of what we are talking about. Get real, come on. Out of interest, I'm guessing this is... Oh, looks like their arm may have slightly went back. Oh, what am I doing? I'm not saving these pictures. Yeah, so out of interest, is this a man who is now performing as a woman? let's read up on them. Laurel Hubbard is a New Zealand transgender weightlift. Hubbard is a child of Dick Hubbard, yeah, of course, they get that. In a former mayor of Auckland City, wow, and founder of Hubbard's Food, competing before her gender transition under the name of Gavin. Hubbard set a new junior record. What a surprise. So I'm guessing they're going to win the gold. I mean, if they win the gold, there'll be a bit of outrage, I'm guessing. But I bet she's not the only weightlifter. Who is she performing against? Also, it looks like there might be a footballer. Yeah, how about, like I say, the other way around? Are there many females that compete in male events? One sport where I guess that would be almost an advantage would be something like horse riding. Jockeys are obviously generally very short, like the top jockeys are very short, but are they women in drag? Well, who knows? Although it looks like there's a footballer here. Now, I'm fairly convinced that football has had its fair share also. Right, for some reason the page is being annoying. Doesn't want to zoom out either. Why not? Okay, bear with view. No, not doing it. Right, we'll get there in a minute. Right, that'll do. At 5 p.m. local time, Kashima City, Japan, Quinn takes to the pitch for Canada in a soccer semi-final. Having most of the matches of the games, they've already written chapters of sweat and effort. As the first out trans and non-binary competitor in Olympic history, yeah, that's what they say there, the first out. It doesn't mean that it's the first ever. It just means it's the first one to come out. And yeah, they're surely all okay. Coming out as hard. Okay, right. I'm confused. Is this a woman that was originally a man, or a man that is now playing as a woman? Confusing. Because yeah, I'm sure that goes on as well. Also, something like archery, for example. Would there be a big advantage whether you were male or female in archery? Wouldn't matter. But I'm guessing guaranteed any big stars? I'm not sure. I've said previous sporting events, the World Cup, Premier League football. I'm not really familiar with American football or Australian rules, so I can't comment on things like that. But soccer, football is fixed, and like the high profile stuff, does that mean the Olympics are fixed? Well, when you have someone like this competing in the women's, then who knows? But I want to see who else is competing in the women's weightlifting. But they won't talk about them, they'll just make sure we're all very focused on these people. The common denominator of both of these is that the vision those seeking exclusion have tried to sell will be shown false. Right, she has at best a puncher's chance to win a medal. Let's try and read this. Right, New Zealand weightlifter Laurel Hubbard will take her first attempt in the snatch in the 87 kilogram category. She'll be the first transgender woman to compete. She has... now what was it they said earlier? She's the first out transgender woman to compete. Not the first woman. But anyway, she has at best a puncher's chance, whatever that means. The common denominator in both of these is that the vision those seeking exclusion have tried to sell will be shown false once again. What a very strange sentence. Can anyone make sense of that? Perhaps we're getting to the point where words, like part of the evening, where I start losing track of what I'm reading and seeing, because I've been looking at a computer screen too long. But the common denominator of both of these is that the vision those seeking exclusion have tried to sell will be shown false once again. Gibberish. Right, the nightmare of transgender people in sport is as equal to Godzilla and Mothra rising from Tokyo Bay and destroying the entire metropolis will be noise and hysteria signifying nothing. What the... I wonder if this story has been translated from another language, because it's, like I said, doesn't make sense. But whatever. Hubbard has largely been out of the public eye since her breakthrough silver medal. So who won the gold then? Let's see. This is where we find out why they... That's can't be a woman, I'm sure. Of course it isn't. It's got a beard, but you wouldn't be surprised. Right, will it mention who Laurel Hubbard had to defeat on the way to winning? That is what I want to know. David is very exciting young athlete. Note, this tells us nothing about who actually won, does it? Leety? In the men's B division. Nope, we either hear about... Sarah Rhodes from the USA who took gold. Let's see what Sarah Robles looks like. I jumped to the conclusion there a little bit. There we go. Huh. Is the jury out? Who knows? She has the same underarm hair as the other guy. Don't know. I'll leave you to make your own minds up. That could just be a very well-built woman. And although there it doesn't look very convincing. How about seeing how they move? Should we watch a bit of this person lifting weights? David says, all sport is rigged. We just had Mark Cavendish in the Tour de France at 36, beating riders 10 years younger. Yet I do recall watching a previous Tour de France, and there was a lot of the numbers kept coming up for all the athletes, for all the cyclists. 36-year-old Mark Cavendish, of course, they got their number in. They will always give themselves away. So yeah, you're right. But of course, the difference with the Tour de France and the Olympics is the Olympics. Well, I say they're all kind of amateur, but then they've all got sponsorship, or the big ones do anyway. So they're still getting paid, even if it is amateur athletics. Right. David says it's Queen Latifah playing Robert McCall. What a joke. Michelle, it's how activists speak. You think, Michelle, possibly? I could not make head nor tail of any word they were saying there, so yeah, almost like they speak in riddles. Okay. Right. Yeah, I will probably be thinking about winding down very shortly. It is nearly 11 p.m. here my time, and we've gone for about an hour and a half. So I don't know if any of you noticed actually quite a subtle change, but actually what I consider an improvement. As you look at the live chat, you will notice that on the screen it is now on the left. Previous it was always on the right, meaning that if you're watching the live stream in full screen, you were seeing basically the live chat on a mobile device. You were seeing the live chat twice, so it's now all over on one side. Yeah, I do include it on the screen so people don't have to have, if they're watching a rerun of it, they don't have to switch on the live chat to see what comments were being left. Particularly helpful if you want to edit it afterwards. And yeah, so anyway, hopefully that's a very minor improvement for anyone watching on a mobile device, I hope. Yeah, all the live chats to the left. Keep it that side. Right. As I said, I will be back at some point with a quiz. It will be. It won't be the traditional 2 hour long quiz where I'm trying to keep up the score. You people are waiting ages for me to work out the score. I miss points. Yeah, it will be a series of kind of maybe 10-minute videos throughout the day, throughout a couple of days, throughout a week or whatever, where I'll present a question, and I'm not sure how we'll score it. It'll be scored differently. I mean, it isn't really about the scores. It's just about people sharing their thoughts on maybe some unlikely questions. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Right, yeah, there wasn't. I've more or less covered everything this evening, and I am going to start winding down. I'm sure there was a couple of subjects I was going to touch on, but they've pretty much gone. I was going to look back last week at, again, these set of people. Would you say all three of these are doing Masonic gestures? I mean, normally if you're going to put your hands over your lips in such a manner, is it quite an effort to pull what David Icke's doing there with his hands is not a natural way to hold your hands. Surely it isn't. That's insane. I'm practicing it now and it doesn't come naturally. The guy next to him is, well, again, doing it is very easy to find Masonic hand symbols. I'm guessing that's what this was. Where were we? The Jungle Surfer. Again, and now Jungle Surfer isn't a channel I've watched a huge amount of. But he says this is Masonic hand gestures to look for. There is one similar to 10 and 11. Of course, we all see 14 and 15 constantly. That 17 is a variation of how it looks like David Icke is doing. Let's see. Right, can I actually zoom in on this now? Yes, so also going back to my earlier question, if any of you attended any demonstrations, at any point did David Icke invite people to walk through through an archway? I mean, he says that, yeah, I'm just referencing this blog that I came across, Pure Truth. I've left a link in the description if you want to check him out, because I was certainly very interested in what he had to say. They claim they are using it's a very long blog actually, very detailed, claims they're using these demonstrations as a way of tricking people into accepting the third temple, which is a reference to the Bible, the book of Revelations or the book of Daniel, where the Antichrist takes residence in the third temple. It's very well detailed in that blog post. I have left a link in the live chat. I might leave it in the description after I edit the video. So yeah, worth checking out. Angela Tate Clown Reality, greetings. You say Ike has had severe arthritis from being very young. His hands are somewhat twisted due to it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it takes me back actually, reading that article. Where were we? We were on Twitter, and someone left a comment on, someone left a reply to one of my posts. And at the time, I just went along with it, but it was actually... Right, where was it? Bear with me. It was someone saying that if you don't do everything in your power to promote these demonstrations, then you're basically... Oh, where is it? Here we go. This is protesting... Basically, protest lockdowns. This is... I'm not sure who these people are, whether they're someone that has a vested interest in all these protests that keep going ahead. As I said earlier, my opinion is it is good to see people showing, basically letting themselves be heard that they're in opposition. But for me, I'm not 100% convinced they're the way to go. For as long as people are marching down the street talking about this stuff, it will never go away. And I think we've all just got to try and get past it. But now, for example, you may say, well, then you're basically just letting the government usher in any vile practice they want. Well, no. That's the time to demonstrate, is when they present it to you. They say, right, now is your time to be tested. Now's your time to put on a mask. Now's your time to have your jab. That is when you protest. You say, no, not doing it. It isn't on a sunny Saturday afternoon where everything's cool, calm and collected and no one's asking you to do anything. How many of these people that attend these marches will later go off and then still have the jab anyway, will still go and put a mask on? I know Katie Hopkins, she puts one on. So it's the time to demonstrate is in your everyday life. I'm not 100% convinced. Going to the Capitol, bear in mind that does a very good for their tourist board. They love all those visitors. Just what they need after all this lockdown in London. So yeah, it's an everyday protest. It never stops. It isn't reserved for one day. So when someone comes to me and says, no more marches around London, if you don't come or do bear in mind he said no more marching around London. What did they do? They marched around London twice. If you don't come or do everything you can to promote this, then you can't ever moan about restrictions again. Well, yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry. Stand for your rights or lose them. Absolutely, 100% agree with that statement. But the time to stand is when you're being told you can't come in this pub if you haven't had your shot, you can't do this, that or the other. That is the time to protest. Anyway, I'll go back to the live chat. I see Robin Max has joined us. Unfortunately, we are going to be tuning out very shortly. You say you just tuned in, but looks like I'm late. Not to worry, Robbo. Always appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. Angela says, read that one. Hugo Talks put out a video this evening about Piers Corbyn. David says David did the interview with London Real last April, I think, and he's been correct ever since. Hugo made him some very interesting points. Yeah, again, Hugo Talks isn't a channel I hugely follow. I know he's got a very large following, and when I have seen stuff, I can't disagree with what he's saying. So someone else mentioned Hugo Talks. That was David earlier. Oh, David said the Black James Bond played by a woman next. Mark my words. Well, do we not already have a Black James Bond? Am I right in thinking that? Or the next one's going to be of colour, or however you're supposed to say it. Exotic parentage or exotic heritage. No, exotic's offensive word. Can't say that anymore. It's crazy. Just think, people probably get paid money to come up with what is an acceptable term. I know they hold meetings with a very select few. Let's say they'll go to the black community and say, right, we need to hold a meeting. Do you find it offensive when people say you're of colour? And then a few select people say, yeah, that is quite offensive. Let's start up an organisation, say Kick It Out, for example. I think there's another one now. And we'll get loads of government funding to fight people using the wrong term when they refer to someone of colour, for example, an Afro-Caribbean. Yeah, you know the situation. Anyway, I went off on a bit of a tangent there. I wasn't actually. The Black James Bond, of course, that was it. And now, because of lots of people thinking that dressing up as the opposite gender makes you somehow an interesting person, got to have an identity. Anything to have an identity. Maybe copy the identities of the people we see on programmes like, as we started the show with, Coronation Street. These are influencers. It's kind of like monkey see, monkey do. So if you see people on Coronation Street having affairs, drinking alcohol when everything goes wrong for them, you see them boozing every night, gossiping, getting into fights, stabbing your best mate in the back, like figuratively, not literally, or both actually, then it sticks in your head that this is how normal people behave. On some level it does. So when Coronation Street misinform about stuff like diabetes, as we started the show with, then I'm going to call it out. If you have joined us late, Robbo, you may wish to scroll back to the beginning. I am going to close out there. So I am going to run through and say a huge thank you to Misha from Oz, Ayers Jones, Kev, that was it. I asked earlier, didn't you say there was a more simple name to remember? And it's Kev. I'll try and remember that now. So thanks to Misha, Kev, Sapphire Star, Linda Mack, Phil Wright, Joanne Moore. We've said David, I'm sure. KG. And who else has joined in? Obviously, Robin Max has popped in late. Angela Tate, Clown Reality. And if I've missed anyone that's commented, I do apologise. Please leave a comment now just to say hello, goodbye. Always appreciate finding out who's tuned in. I will certainly be back next Sunday with another one. I might even be back in the week. Actually, in the week I did upload a video. I expect most of my regular viewers will have probably already seen it. It was another them giving themselves away with their numbers, of course. Here it was, another fake propaganda piece. I'm sure you may have watched it. If not, then check it out. I'm going to leave a link in the live chat. And we are going to play out with maybe another 5 minutes of the video shared to us by Sapphire, who is in the chat saying thanks and good night. As you probably know, I do keep waffling on a bit. I don't just say night everyone, goodbye. I can't shut up at the end of these live streams. So I'm going to close down in a minute. But yeah, we've had some... I hope tonight's live stream was maybe slightly educational, made you think about something in a different way. Did we decide whether they're still pumping us full of insulin, pig insulin, or are they now using synthetic insulin as they claim? I'm going to say any synthetic insulin is probably created using pig insulin in the first place. So apparently pigs are very... they use... Look, we don't just eat pigs in opposition to the word of God. We also... do we or do we not take that insulin? And what about when they want to bring on pregnancies? Pig semen, apparently they use that. You may or may not be aware. Although no doubt they'll try and tell you that it's synthetic. Where is it? Baby centre. Right, I keep wanting to say epidural, but that's not the right word. Epidural is an injection in the back. Right, I heard that the gel they use for inducing you is made with pig semen. Please tell me this is not true. It would make sense as sex is meant to bring on labour by softening the cervix, but pig semen, please tell me someone's winding me up. It is true, yeah, absolutely. Prostaglandin gel has ingredients in it that are derived from pig semen but does not actually contain pig semen. So it's got the ingredients, same as no doubt insulin. It hasn't really got pig's insulin, but it's made from pig's insulin. So it's still pig's insulin then. It's like telling a vegetarian or a vegan, that burger's got parts of a cow in it, but it is vegetarian. Doesn't work for me. Anyway, yeah, thanks to everyone who joined in, alright? David in the chat. Robbo says you'll watch from the start after it's finished. Sorry for being late. Robbo, I tell you what I told, was it Angela Tate? Who someone could, apologise for being late. Absolutely no need. No, it's KG said, sorry I'm late. No need to apologise. I just appreciate you turning up at all. So huge thanks to everyone who has tuned in, who has left a comment in the live chat. Always great to have a bit of interaction with you guys. As I said, we're going to close out watching... Oh, where's it gone? We are going to close out watching a video that was shared to us by Sapphire Star. It's this one, Frontline Doctors. I don't like plagiarising people's work, literally just stealing it, but this guy shows a lot of good information. I will share a link to the video and his channel. He's got a subscription off me this evening. Where are we? And Michelle saying sleep well. Let's hope this time next week you are out of your enforced, some people say quarantine or curfew, but let's call it what it is. Thought experiment. I hope they've got you out of the thought experiment where they want you to believe, if they tell you you're not allowed out the door, how many people are not going to come out the door? Again, that is your time to protest. Standing in London in a big group's great. Okay, I'm sure that works for some people. But yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, I may well give the video you mentioned by Hugo Talks a look. I've got someone I know that often sends me a link to his videos, so I may have already seen it. But so I'm curious what he has to say about Piers Corbyn. Alright guys, that is it from me now, or I will not stop talking. You may hear while I'm playing this video from the YouTube channel Citizen Man TV that you hear squeaking or creaking. That's me opening the door, but I have to leave the microphone playing or else it doesn't, or else you won't hear the audio. Yeah, we're going to literally listen to about 2 or 3 minutes of this, and then I'm going to close up for the evening. So thanks again, once again, to everyone. And I'll be back next week. David says the Night is Young Me show. I've got Jovi coming on. Is that Bon Jovi? Yeah, Kev, otherwise known as Irons Jones, thanks for joining us. You've been with us most of the evening, I believe, unless you went and came back. Much appreciated, okay? Have a wonderful week, everyone. I may be back midweek with another video, or maybe even a quiz question. We'll see how that goes. That is coming soon. But I will certainly be back next Sunday. Have a wonderful week. Take care, everyone. Cheerio.
Richer and wealthy. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they're doing it all on the backs of the dumb sheep. But believe the experts, they said. But don't believe these experts, no. But I say, if they say believe the experts, well, let's believe the experts.
Oh, hang on. Just 1 second. One thing I want to do. I got a better way of playing this, I think. Right. I think I've still got to keep my microphone on. But, where are we? Browser. Right. URL. Hopefully this will work. Right. Huh. I'm not even sure what's happening. Is this it? Nope. Right. Okay. Sorry, people. Bear with me. If you've got to go, I appreciate everyone that's joined in. Display capture, that's locked. Okay, this is the browser window. Right, got it. So I can shut... Hang on. I can shut... Where is it? Huh. Right, I'm not sure there what's actually going on. Oh, that hasn't worked, right. No, forget that. No browser window. Back to how it was. My apologies. Okay, once again, as you were, we'll carry on playing a few minutes of this and then I'll be saying goodnight. Oh, well, I've already said goodnight, but I'll be stopping the live stream. Cheerio, everyone. Take care.
Who actually have believable data and believable information to support the shit that they're saying. Huh? How about it? Let's believe those experts. Let's believe the real experts, because as we all know, social media has a terrible habit of censoring people who tell the truth. So if you want to determine who's lying and who's telling the truth, look at who's being promoted on social media. Chances are they're lying. Look at who's being suppressed on social media, and chances are they're telling the truth. That's how you know who's telling the truth and who's lying. If that's not a good parameter to determine who's telling the truth and who's lying, look at who's willing to go to court over it, and look at who's not. And that tells you who's telling the truth and who's lying. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that brings us to the end of tonight's show, but the show is not over yet. It is not over yet, for I must inform you guys about the donors, and I must read their comments to you and let their voices be heard. And also, before we get to that, don't forget, get out of poverty and get yourself on the road to a happy financial future, starting with building credit. Don't listen to those broke conversations about the money system and the financial system. It's always these people that don't have two nickels to rub together that always tell you how bad money is and how fake money is. Mind you, they go to work to collect a paycheck of that same fake money and use that same fake money to pay their bills. So don't listen to that bullshit. We live in reality, and in reality, you need money to be comfortable. And if you really want to win this war, money is what you use to build your war chest. And you can't depend on other people to give it to you. You got to find a way to earn it yourself. And the best way to earn it is through investing. And the best way to invest is to acquire capital. The easiest way to acquire capital is by having good credit. Self-Credit Builder is a great way to start building credit. My score was actually increased by over 200 points in less than a year, but that was done in conjunction with the Self-Credit Builder and cleaning my credit, which was getting a bunch of old items off my credit report by disputing them. You file your dispute, and the reason for your dispute would be there are fraudulent charges or fraudulent activity on this account, because most banks and credit cards engage in fraudulent activity. You don't have to specify what that fraud was.
Okay. Many thanks to Citizen Man for that. Right, I'm done. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful week, like I said. Do you know what? I never put this warning on. Any copyright protected material used in this video is for purposes of review and education in line with fair use copyright laws. Okay, bye.